Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We are in a regular meeting here at 2nd Street School, and all board members are present except for Ms. Barnes. Dr. Barber is out of town tonight attending a conference, and we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, with respect to the agenda, I am going to take off because we're still waiting on approval of the original BG1. So I'm taking off items 7A, C, and D. And we will keep item B on there just for the purpose of discussing our procedure forward. Okay, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the agenda is approved. Our next item is recognition. We have some students here with us tonight, and Ms. Sams is going to begin introductions.
Yes, hello, good evening, everybody. So I'm going to actually introduce our academic team coach, Miss Smith, to come up and recognize all these wonderful students you see here. They had a wonderful run this season at academic team meet. We have some medals, we won some awards, so we just want to make sure that they get their recognition. So Miss Smith, if you want to come on up. Thank you.
I had so many students, so if it's okay if I could just kind of list the students and have them come up front, and then we can.
Out as you go?
And then can we do that at the end?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so first off, we did have a very successful year, and I couldn't be proud of the students. We have a lot of that are absent tonight due to a play, so. But we have over 20 students on the academic team. So anyways, but I'd like to call up my 6th graders first. Ryan Lee, Kate Looney, Ben Peach, Houston Hancock, Ashlyn Willard, Amelia Wilkerson, Anthony Janone, Brandon Anglin, Piper Rosick, and Jackson Starkweather. And if you all would just kind of stand. Thank you.
Wow.
And my 7th graders were Helen Hall Abney and Sam Patron. All right, and my 8th graders, Margaret Wilkerson, Jalea Hatchett, Kaylee Van Adder, Jack Gilbert, Sam Gilbert, Mia Knet, and Kiara Taylor. So I'm gonna let Ben and Houston just talk first off about there are 2 competitions. The first one is a 6th grade showcase, which is strictly for 6th graders. And so Ben and Houston want to just talk a little bit about what we got to do before we started practicing. And so where did we get to travel to?
We had to travel to a radio show, and we got to be on the radio show, and it was a really fun experience. It was in Lexington, but while we were in Lexington, we got to meet the past lieutenant governor and ask her questions on the radio show. And we got to go head on head against the people that were like doing the radio, so we had to go against them and quick recall and we
It was the Jack Patty show, and it was very exciting for them. So first off, for the 6th grade showcase, I'm going to announce the top 10. In math, Ryan Lee placed 7th. And in arts and humanity, we had Jackson Starkweather and Ashley Willard that both placed 9th. And in science, Kate Looney placed 9th. In social studies, Ben Peach and Brandon Anglin, both 9th and 10th place. Charlotte Saunderson in language arts placed 7th. So Jackson Starkweather in language arts also placed 10th. So I'm really proud of all those sixth graders. The top 5 students in the sixth grade showcase are the ones who we will see medals. And in 4th place for Arts and Humanity, Amelia Wilkerson came in 4th place. And in written comp, Kate Looney came in 2nd place. And Amelia Wilkerson for written comp came in 1st place. Moving on to middle school academic team for the 8th graders, the top 10 placements, math, Jack Gilbert came in 9th. Kate Looney, as in the middle schools for 8th grade students, Kate Looney placed 10th in science, and she's a 6th grader. So I wanted to give honorable mention to her. And the 6th graders in social studies, honorable mention, Ben Peach and Houston Hancock, who came in 13th and 14th in the 8th grade competition. In language arts, Kiara Taylor came in 10th. And honorable mention, 6th grader Ashlyn Willard, she came in 13th place in the 8th grade competition. In arts and humanity, Amelia Wilkerson came in 7th. Margaret Wilkerson came in 9th. Proud of both of you all. And the top 5 moved on to regionals for written comp. Margaret Wilkerson came in 2nd place. Amelia Wilkerson came in 3rd place. And Helen Hall Abney came in 4th place. So we did a great job with our written comp. Very proud of all of them. And overall, we were in 4th place. So the students that went to regionals, it was held in Shelby County, and it's up against 21 schools. Margaret, Amelia, and Helen Hall placed 10th, 12th, and 14th. So the other thing that I could be proud of our students is that they received the Catherine Hume Award. And Margaret, would you like to explain that?
So basically this is a sportsmanship award, and it just means that we displayed one of the best sportsmanships between the quick and recall matches, so we had a positive attitude. And the other schools voted on us for this. Yeah.
So I'm very proud of you. They represented our school. I just couldn't be prouder. So I have a couple of things that I really feel is important that I do. First off, I could not have done this without the support of my parents. If you were a parent, could you please stand up? The hours that they put in and helped me, the volunteer hours, the donations that they made, working concession stands so we could pay for our fees. I'm not sure if let's see, I don't see. Okay. Anyways, but I'd also like to thank Da Vinci's Pizza. They sponsored us and paid for our team T-shirts, which was over $400. So if you go to Da Vinci's Pizza, please let Craig and Scott know that we greatly appreciate them. Most importantly, I want to thank the board. This wouldn't be possible without your all support, and we really greatly appreciate your support of the academic team. So. We have already started planning for next year. Some parents we found out that there's a camp at the University of Kentucky, and we were already going to start. Parents have already volunteered to pay for the funds for the week-long camp. And we have also started, going to be raising money. There's a traveling team. So now we know the secret behind how the other team, one certain school in Frankfort, is winning it all. So we're going to get started a traveling team. So, but I couldn't be prouder of them all, and thank you everyone. So thank you, Ms.
While board members are coming up, I just want to say thank you to Ms. Smith. I know the hours and the dedication that this requires, and to the parents. And your support, that's what makes it possible. So,
And Mr. Smith.
and we're so proud of you.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. And Mr. Smith will take a lot of concession stands too.
And our students always represent us well, make us proud, and as I know this do. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
All ready?
Okay, you all may stay. You're more than welcome, but we understand if you need to leave and do other activities. I didn't know if you were coming, and I felt like I was down there by myself. Yeah, I felt like I was on an island down there.
And the orange or blue looks good on you. You get the right colors. That's right.
Oh, I forgot they were gonna have Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is comments and concerns. I would like to welcome back Tyler Reed. He's here, as you all know, to serve as our interim principal for the remainder of the year. If you just want to step up so we can get you on television. Thanks for being here. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I look forward to working with you.
Thanks. Okay, Mr. Ed Poe has asked to address the board tonight, and he is here, and I will recognize him at this time.
Thank you so much. You stand over here.
If you could,
Right here.
right here, just so, would you like to face the camera?
Yes.
Also, okay.
Yes. Well, now that all of our young people have left the room, I can go back to my original plan. What I would like for you to do, by the way, my name is Ed Poe, and I am president of FOR, which is Focus on Race Relations. Two problems that face our nation, in my opinion, the two greatest problems that we have that tear this nation apart. One is the opioid problem. Two is race relations. And if we don't get a handle on both of those, we're in serious trouble, okay? If you would please bear with me, I want to do a little pretending. Close your eyes for me. Just for a second, just close your eyes. I want you to go back 400 years, okay? You are no longer who you are. You're an African. You're an African male. You're walking back from a hunting trip. You have a wife. You have a daughter, teenage daughter, and you have a 10-year-old son. And you've had a very successful trip. You've got provisions for your family. You have enough provisions not only for your family, but for the other tribe members that your family live with. And it's a sunny day, you're almost home, and things are really looking good. All of a sudden, you are grabbed, you're thrown to the ground, you're shackled, and you're thrown into the hull of a slave ship and taken away. Okay, open your eyes. Now remember, you are that African. 400 years ago, the first African, that's you, was brought to the shores of North America in shackles in the hull of a slave ship, given just enough food and water to barely survive that trip. When the African reached the North American shores, he was forced into a lifetime of forced labor, slavery, working 16 to 20 hours a week in the hot sun, under the hot sun, in the cotton fields, in the wheat fields, in the tobacco fields, in the rice paddies. Likewise, his wife, his son, his daughter, and his fellow countrymen were also taken from their homeland, stolen from that homeland, thrown into the hull of a slave ship, brought to the North American shores, and forced into a lifetime of forced servitude, slavery. When cotton was king, America prospered on the sweat and the back of the African American slave. Now the slaves received not one penny of compensation,
for their effort, their forced effort that made America great. The slaves were not allowed to meet. They were not allowed to talk to each other in a group. They were not allowed to read nor learn how to read. They were not allowed to educate themselves in any way. If caught, the punishment was always swift and harsh. The women were often beaten and raped. The men were beaten, horsewhipped, shot, and lynched. Lynching was a favorite tool used to keep the slaves in line and to prevent them from gaining a toehold in the American society. Now, that was 400 years ago. A lot has happened since that time. In 1863, President Lincoln freed the slaves. However, with no home, no property, no work, no job, no money, many of the slaves were arrested for loitering, jailed, and sent right back to the same plantations that they had just been freed from. During the course of slavery, the Reconstruction era, the Jim Crow era, the Civil Rights era, into the modern days, we have lived with slavery. Does it still exist among ourselves? And when I say slavery, I'm talking about race and race-related issues that still bind us, keeps us in shackles. Does it exist here in Frankfort, Kentucky? Yes, it does. My organization, Focus on Race Relations, we had a Truth and Resolution luncheon. At that luncheon, 34 of the 35 of the leadership of the city and county publicly stated that racism still exists here in Frankfort, Kentucky. Now, why am I talking to you guys here in the school board? Well, we have issues within the school system itself that we have to address. The handout that I gave you, it shows the impact that we have in our school system when a child of color goes through the 1st through the 12th grade and never sees anyone in authority that looks like them. No teacher, no counselor, no principal. The impact on that child says that, hey, if you're a person of color, there's no sense in making the effort because you're not going to be in a position of authority. What is the impact on the white kids going through that same system? Well, they never see a person of color in charge of anything. So what does that tell them? That whites are always in charge. They're supposed to be in charge. That they don't have to listen to a person of color. And we're doing this day in and day out when we go through the cycle of not having a teacher of color in the classroom. I know what I'm talking about because I've been through that. I had to go through the 1st through the 10th grade. It wasn't until I came to Chicago when I was a junior that I saw the first African American teacher. Not only did I not see a teacher, I never saw any other black students in the school that I went to, except for my 2 brothers and my sister. That was it. It does something to that individual when you don't have a role model in front of you. And right now, I took a look at your full-time teaching equivalents, and the persons of color teachers, I think you're about 4.8%. Now, I could be off just a little bit. I don't have the latest figures. We need to change that. And I know there are good reasons why it's like that. There are good excuses, but an excuse is just an excuse. An excuse says that I don't have to do anything because I'm excused. That's what an excuse does. It excuses you from taking any action. And that may not be the story, because I'm sure you've done quite a bit in order to reverse this trend. Well, Focus on Race Relations is here to help. We're not blaming the school system, because it's not your fault. This thing is bigger than you. In order to get to where we want to get, and I'm saying within a 10-year period, we can turn this thing around, but it has to be the schools, it has to be the city, it has to be the county, it has to be Kentucky State University, it has to be the state. We have to get all of these stakeholders together, and we have to address this problem, and we have to look at it from the point of view of these kids who go through this each and every day, and we have to say failure is not an option. We have to find a way, and we will find a way, okay? Now, during that 10-year period, do we still let these kids in the classroom just keep on going? No, we have to do something. And that's what 4 is projecting. We are putting together a program that will provide assistance for that classroom teacher, so that we have resources that they can utilize in order to address these issues of race and race relations within the classroom, okay? And we talked to the superintendents, they've approved the program. We are working to put something together for the teachers in September. And we're gonna do this with both school systems, okay? At the same time, we're gonna be working to put together those stakeholders to start addressing that 10-year problem that we have to address in order to get this thing done. So that's why I'm here today, just to let you know that you're not in this thing by yourself. We're coming there, we're the cavalry, okay? We're coming to help. And we're gonna have resources that you can pull from. And we don't want to put anything on the classroom teacher above and beyond what they already have, because their workload is just so full right now, they can't do anymore, okay? And that's where we come in. We can step in and we can help. We can provide resources for this. So without taking up too much more of your time, I thank you for allowing me to come in and talk about this issue. And hopefully we can talk more about this as we move forward. Any questions?
Thank you for being here. And, with respect to the agenda, this is, not a discussion time, but I would be more than happy to schedule that type of thing. I, can say that equity and specifically this issue are at the forefront of our discussions when we have retreats and when we speak individually. We are in the process of developing an equity scorecard for the district so that we can check ourselves. And,
Excellent. Excellent.
And we have participated with the education committee, the 4 education committee, and look forward to that opportunity, but we definitely would welcome any resources.
Take a look at the, I think it's the second or third page. I've got brackets around there, and it says goal. Okay. What this study came up with is that if you just have the students have one contact with a black teacher during their elementary school period, it makes that much of a difference. 2 or 3 does not change it that much, but if you just have one, that's an immediate goal that we can take a look at, so that we can cycle our kids so that at least when they go through grades 1 through 12, at least they have one teacher of color somewhere in that mix. And that makes a difference, according to this study. So, there are other goals that we can take a look at, but, having a discussion session, I think, is just appropriate for where we need to go to. But I won't take up any more of your time. I thank you so much. And
thank you for being here.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is reports. You have personnel report. I don't think there was any activity on it this time. So the next item is the treasurer's report. Are there any comments, questions about that? Tom is here tonight. I had one quick question I meant to ask you on the phone today. This JW Associates, which is on page 9 of the orders, can you just remind me what that... It says equipment, but there was a...
Oh, that's cafeteria equipment.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Cafeteria equipment.
Okay.
Make sure of that.
Okay, I just saw that almost 24,000. Just thought I would... Other equipment.
Yeah, she could replace.
Is that-
For cafeteria.
Okay. Okay, good.
Tables, supplies, other equipment.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Tom? Okay. Okay, well,
Black. We're still in the black. Yeah, actually, we're doing pretty well right now. We're still maintaining over $1 million in the general fund. Doing pretty well. So hopefully that trend continues. We're doing excellent right now for this, especially continuing, on from peak when Texas going in November. I know we're only 2 months out, but usually you start seeing it declining. But we're doing pretty well.
okay. Thanks, Tom. Okay, the next item is the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And the consent agenda is approved. Under unfinished business, with respect to the design development, because of the fact that board members have had questions, some of us are not even clear on what current usage is for, in particular, the stage area of the gym. So I'm going to be appointing a committee with a couple of board members, maybe a coach or two, Mr. Reed possibly, and the architect to just get us some more information and details so we're a little more comfortable with what that's going to look like. And but just as I'd like to note that this is not holding up the process at all. We are still awaiting the original BG1 approval from KDE. So, and having said that, is there consensus on the design, the rest of the design? And do all of our questions at this point revolve around the stage area? Is that a fair statement with respect to the locker rooms and all that everybody's comfortable with that? Okay. Okay. Now, I didn't want anything formal, just some consensus on where we were with that. I will also be getting access to the gymnasium within the next couple of days. I'll be out of town all day tomorrow, but after that, I will send out an email. I'm going to get dimensions from the architect, and I'm going to go over and put masking tape on the floor of both the stage area and the gymnasium area, so that we can visualize what that might look like a little better. So due to the open meetings law, I can only take one of you at a time. But since I live right across the street, I can facilitate that. So once I get those dimensions and get a key or some access to the gym, I'll send out an email. You don't have to come, but if you are interested, just respond and we'll set up a time when you can come in and take a look at it. Okay?
thank you.
Okay, so we won't take any action. I just left that item on there just so I could notify you of that. Okay, and the next item is new business. The only item on there is the asbestos survey. This is something, that's necessary to proceed with the bids. Any contractor would want to know, what they're getting into. So, go ahead.
The document talks about
page 665, is that just an error? Take two to the line. It's like doing things in error and then like no share.
This is the same group that did the survey for the old Wilkinson Street School. Okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, so is there a motion to approve the survey? The motion's been made and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, and the survey is approved. That's all we have for tonight. So if there is a motion to adjourn, we're done. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. I was like, come on. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you all very much.